how should we design learning experiences that are engaging and relevant?
From an early learning perspective, I think we've kind of designed and followed the lead of the child for a long, long time.
What does that mean, following the lead of the child?
So if they wanted to play with Play-Doh, we went and got Play-Doh. If they needed a place where they could get a hug, we responded in that way. If they needed support with doing a puzzle that maybe was too hard, we were always thinking about children first and what could be that next experience that we could provide.
And so you're already starting from a very sort of learner-centered or learner-led kind of environment. Do you find that creates engagement and relevancy?
Well, I definitely think that it does. I think of the structure of our day in early learning, that the children have 70 minutes. They come to school for 2 hours and 45 minutes. 70 minutes is child-directed. So the teacher facilitates that learning by intentionally placing materials in the learning environment that are intriguing and will spark children to come and, well, what is that? How does that work? And so we did some work over the last 2 years of looking at we call it substantial portion of the day, and what was happening, what was the teacher interaction that was happening at that time? How did you guide children and follow their lead once they showed you what they were interested in and passionate? So it was like such a logical next step to then be looking at, well, what does it mean about engaging learning experiences? So what is it to be engaging to play at the water table? It's not just playing with the water. How do we make that
a meaningful experience?
A meaningful experience. And it's about a teacher knowing what a child is demonstrating. Maybe not, young children don't always verbally say what they're thinking, but you watch and you respond to them and then ask questions. Sometimes it's just
Well, and those of us who have had children, my youngest is 2, and so just sort of right in there, even though I know that he can't verbalize everything that he's thinking about, you can see them making meaning.
Yes.
And something I want to come back to around the idea of like intentionally designing the classroom and placing things in the space. How do you support teachers in making those decisions?
Well, we've done a lot of work around using our content standards to help us think about young children and what would be topics that they, learning about their world, animals, plants, places, and then thinking about how the learning environment can be created in a way that they can start to play and act out some of that learning. So we've done things like turning the housekeeping into a veterinarian hospital, and the animals coming in, it's got the calendar to make the appointments. And
so it's almost reimagining the spaces you already have in new ways.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that focus then on the teacher then becomes designer almost. Right? And so the structure that you've created for kids in the 70 minutes, what do you feel like are the most important things that a teacher can be doing as that sort of facilitator in order to make sure that it is engaging and relevant?
I think that we have to be so intentional in what we are placing in the environment, and intentional in watching and observing and responding to children, and to be thinking about what are they showing us that
Yes.
they're trying to figure out, and then how do I either put something else there. I can give like an example.
Sure.
We were doing a balls and ramps activity, and these little girls, it was like 3 days, they kept coming back. They were trying to make a ramp that went from the table across, and they kept stacking the little square blocks, and it took them 20 of them
Yep.
to get up to where the ramp. And we would just put a large box out there to see if maybe, how would this work? No, they were still going to stack those blocks. And eventually they were like, they keep knocking down. We got to try something different. But to be putting those things where they have to do the thinking,
Yep.
and to not jump in and expect an end product per se, but kind of rejoicing. I love just rejoicing in the process they go through, figuring it out.
Yeah.
And to delight when you talked about your 2-year-old, to be watching and you're just like, oh my gosh, they just figured that out right before my eyes.
Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing to see, and I think one of the most interesting things about ECE in general is just how concrete a lot of the very abstract things that happen later in your school career can be. You know, you were just talking about persistence and, you know, what some people would call grit, right? Like you have to be able to problem solve to try and figure out another way to come at this problem in order to get the solution that you want.
And I just love that you went to persistence, because we have one of our objectives that we monitor is approaches to learning.
Yep.
And that is my absolute favorite, and people call me a nerd because I always say this is my favorite, because it is about persistence. It's about flexibility, creativity, that problem solving, and you just see them doing that, and you just become such a kid watcher that you are noticing, oh my gosh, that was persistence, and look at how they problem solved that without having to try every single solution to something.
Right, and you're not making a lesson plan on persistence, right? Like you are creating that opportunity for students to experience persistence.
And I think about young children and even like labeling, noticing and naming what you see. So it can be, wow, you were really a problem solver. You tried that 3 different ways. Good for you. And you just them hearing us talk like that, pretty soon you hear them saying, I'm a problem solver.
That's right.
Did you see me? Blah, blah, blah. And it becomes that expectation and that just, I don't know whether it's expectation, but you just know that that's what they can be and what we want them to be.
Well, and I think that gets at sort of the role of the teacher in the classroom a little bit too, where you are saying like one of the primary roles is to notice and name the things that kids are already doing, right? You are you said kid watcher. I love that. That idea that you are almost an archaeologist in your own classroom, sort of discovering with the kids what they're capable of.
And you just, with this age, you have to just know them well and what they can do and what they're trying to do, and then to be able to respond to that. And it's about relationships with young children, relationships with their families. I also feel like I've spent my entire career with children under the age of 6, working with their families, their teachers, and what a privilege it is to be that first teacher and that first face of APS or wherever, and to be able to share, oh, well, today Ben did this, and for that parent to just be like, wow, that teacher knows him so well, and and shares that, and what a relationship that starts.
Well, I love the frame there of that it is a privilege to serve kids and to be that first phase. I think that's
It's
really
a privilege and such a responsibility.
Absolutely,
such a
absolutely right. So that's sort of the answer to this question, but I am super interested in the questions that folks want to ask. And so is there a question that you feel like has been gnawing at you or that you have been thinking a lot about and would love to answer together as a large community?
Probably my biggest question, or just another area that we need to keep growing, is to continue with our school leaders to develop our understandings together about what could be happening in an early learning classroom, what play looks like, and what we would want to see. And as we go down this path of designing engaging learning, whether that looks like an investigation or a project, the process that young children will go through to be able to do that kind of learning, and to be alongside principals, other teaching partners that are K-12, that we get them into preschool classrooms and beyond, saying, oh, aren't they so cute, and look at that.
And yes, they are.
And then you have to say, but did you just see this? Did you just hear what they said about the story? You know?
Well, and I think that question almost becomes, what role do school leaders play in establishing the learning culture from the early stages? What does play look like in your school? What does early learning look like in your school? Those questions are essential for folks who should be able to come in and observe just like the teacher can, and support teachers in doing that too. I think that's really valuable.
And not just in pre-K, really, to be thinking of early learning is really preschool. Well, we even have infants and toddlers, that it starts with the babies and goes all the way up to 3rd grade. So how do we make sure that we are providing the best engaging, while academics are certainly key and we need to do that, but without engaging them in ways that make them think and be curious. And
you can't get to the
academics, and I think sometimes we think the academics is the way to do it, and so I'm excited to give this a go. And say, come on down, let's look and see what's happening when we think about, well, what's rigor for a 3-year-old? We'll show them what's rigor.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.